You said you were stuck in traffic. The GPS says you're at the Grand Towers.
I was just finishing up some work when my wife, Lily, texted me. "Huge traffic," she said. "Don't wait up for me, I might be late." Her message felt strangely casual, almost like she'd practiced it. I stared at my phone and this tight feeling started in my chest. For weeks now, she'd been using excuses that just didn't add up. Sudden late meetings. Friends needing help at weird hours. Traffic always being the reason she came home exhausted. I tried to believe her. I mean, that's what a husband is supposed to do, right? But you can't build trust on blind hope. I opened the location sharing app we both used. It wasn't something I checked often, but that night I just had to. Her little blue dot wasn't on the highway. It wasn't anywhere near a traffic jam. It was in a residential neighborhood all the way across town. My stomach just dropped when I zoomed in on the location. She was parked right in front of her coworker Jack's apartment building. I just stared at the screen for several minutes, hoping, praying the little dot would move. It didn't. My hands felt cold as I typed out a message. "Say hi to Jack for me." She saw it immediately. The little typing bubble appeared, then disappeared. 3 times. Finally, she replied, "What do you mean?" I didn't say anything. I just sent her a screenshot of her location. A long, heavy silence followed. Then her replies started flooding in. She was just catching up with a friend. It was innocent. She didn't want me to worry. I was overthinking things. But her panic was so obvious in every rushed sentence. I didn't reply. Instead, I grabbed my keys and walked out the door. I didn't drive to Jack's place. That wouldn't have solved anything. I drove to my brother's house to try and clear my head. On the way, Lily called me over and over. When I finally answered, her voice was loud and frantic. She was begging me not to jump to conclusions, asking where I was going. I just listened quietly, letting her fill the silence with all her excuses. Jack invited her over to talk about work. She didn't tell me because she didn't want to upset me. She was coming home right now. I told her not to rush. She asked if I was angry. I said anger wasn't the right word. She tried to promise that nothing happened, but I just didn't believe her. When I got to my brother's, he opened the door, and you could see the concern on his face. He knew right away something was seriously wrong. We sat down and talked for hours. I told him everything, from the very first red flags to the text message that blew it all wide open. He just listened, didn't interrupt once. When I was done, he looked at me and said I needed to stop ignoring what was right in front of me. He said no faithful spouse hides in lies that deep. He told me I deserved honesty, not this constant confusion. I knew he was right, but hearing it out loud, it hurt more than I ever expected. I ended up sleeping on his couch that night. Lily kept calling, but I didn't answer. The next morning, I drove home, ready for a conversation she couldn't run from. When I pulled up, she was sitting on the porch. She looked so pale and exhausted, her eyes all red from crying. She stood up as soon as she saw my car. She walked toward me, reaching for my hand, but I just stepped back. It was instinct. She tried to explain again, but her words felt so hollow. She claimed she only stayed for a short time. She claimed she'd been thinking about our marriage. She claimed she loved me and didn't want to lose me. I looked her straight in the eye and asked if she had been with Jack before. Her hesitation, that tiny pause, it answered the question for me. She whispered that it wasn't what I thought. I told her I was done believing half-truths. I walked past her into the house. She followed me, crying, begging me to listen. She said she made a mistake and wanted to fix everything. I told her that fixing things requires honesty first. That's when she completely broke down and finally admitted what I already knew. It started with harmless attention, she said. She felt noticed by someone else. She didn't plan for it to happen, never meant to hurt me. But at that point, her intentions didn't matter anymore. The damage was done. I told her I needed space. She asked if that meant we were getting a divorce. I said it just meant I needed time to think. She begged me not to give up on us, and I told her she should have thought about that before she started lying. She packed a small bag and went to stay with her sister. The house felt so different after she left. The air itself felt like it had changed. I just sat there alone on the couch, replaying everything in my head. I didn't cry, I just felt empty. Over the next few days, I focused on getting some clarity. I talked to people I trusted. I tried to gather my thoughts without the constant noise of her excuses. She kept texting, sending these long paragraphs apologizing, saying she wanted to repair things. But trust doesn't grow back overnight. It needs truth, not panic. It needs consistency, not desperation. Eventually, I told her we needed counseling before anything else could even be considered. She agreed immediately. And so we began the slow, painful process of untangling the truth. I didn't promise her forgiveness. I didn't promise a second chance. All I promised was honesty, the one thing she had denied me for months. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was back in control of my own life. I didn't know where our marriage would end up, but I knew one thing for sure. I would never ignore my instincts again. I would never settle for lies disguised as love. And I would never, ever let someone treat my trust like it was something disposable. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've been through something similar, remember that your feelings are valid. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content.